The Rip, Netflix's action thriller film, brought to us by the likes of Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, hit the streaming service last week. And because I'm fans of both actors and their work as producers, I'll admit to you guys that I was mildly interested in what the film might have to offer. Now, I thought the film started off in typical fashion for a movie of this genre, but I thought the opening image was handled a bit clumsily, if I'm being honest. Now, after that, we get the remainder of the setup, which I thought meandered a bit before the film ultimately got to the point. And from there, we essentially get a bottle movie wherein we watch the small cast of actors attempt to develop their characters by way of dialogue versus action, leading to an hour or so of who's who, and the writers try to add additional characters to the pot in an effort to muddy the narrative waters. From there, we get a brief set piece wherein money and people are moved, and this is where the guns come out, providing the film with some much-needed action. I thought the story was fairly straightforward, and after the setup, it got to the point fairly quickly, which in turn helped with the film's pacing, making for a pretty fast watch, even for a sub-2-hour film. The dialogue here was serviceable, but there were no real bars to be had that I noticed, but a film like this doesn't really need them, and I did think that the actors were kind of forced to state the film's conflict over and over and over again as though they weren't expecting us to be paying attention. I felt like there could have been a bit more action in this film throughout, especially given what this movie was about. I like the small cast and the limited locations. I like films that work to tell us a good story instead of relying on distracting the audience with tons of locations and car chases and shootouts and explosion, despite the fact that, again, I'll say the film needed more action. Now, I thought casting was pretty good for the most part, though I don't think Teyana Taylor plays a cop very well. That said, she didn't demand much screen time in this one, so this decision isn't one that winds up costing the film very much. And speaking of Teyana Taylor, even though I didn't like her for this role, she absolutely killed the red carpet in her outfit. I'm just saying. Now, overall, I give this movie a 75%, or a 7.5 out of 10 if you're thinking IMDb score, essentially a C+ for a letter grade. So look, this movie isn't anything spectacular. That said, it does a pretty good job of being exactly what it was produced to be. A mid-budget movie that further expands Netflix's content library during the dog days of January. And all things considered, I think the movie is a pretty good choice for something to watch on a weekend when you're searching for something you haven't yet seen.